We're good? Check the clicker. Clicker is working. You should be good to go now. All right. Just after 3 p.m. on a Thursday. And as I look around this room, I'm seeing some people who need coffee or a Red Bull. Look around, look at everyone's faces. Everyone's kind of tired on this Thursday afternoon. Take it in. So what I'm going to do, when I raise my hand, I want all of you to make as much noise as you possibly can. Stomp your feet, scream off the top of your lungs. Let's make everyone on the next floor hear us. Ready? Raise my hand, make as much noise. When I put my hand down, silence. Ready? Now look around the room, smiles, energy. This is the room I want to talk to. Hi, everybody. I am Adam Rivitz, co-founder and chief strategy officer at #Paid. A little bit about me before we go and dive into this journey on social media. What I am most grateful for in my career is that I knew what I wanted to do when I was 10 years old. I didn't know what exactly the direction was going to be, but I knew I wanted to run my own business. And that was because I knew I didn't like listening to my parents or my teachers. And so the thought of having a boss terrified me. And so, quick background, I grew up in Richmond Hill, 45 minutes from here. I started my first business in the 12th grade. It was an event planning company. I focused on prom and after prom. It looks like some of you might be in first year. So you probably had your prom not too long ago. I would go on Facebook, find the boy and girl with the most Facebook friends at the high school around the city of Toronto, and they would be a sales rep, and they would sell a package of your corsage or boutonniere, your limo ride, and then your ticket to an after prom party that I would host at nightclubs all around the city. Then I thought, okay, I want to run a business. Maybe I should have a business degree. And my mom, my brother, and my sister all went to Western. So I thought, okay, I'll go with my buddies and I'll go party at Western and I'll go to Ivy and I'll get a business degree. Well, little did I know, university is a lot harder than high school. And I ended up after my second year with a 68 average. You know anything about Ivy? They don't take people who have a 68 average. And so I thought, what the hell am I going to do? Am I really going to waste 2 more years of my life, 2 more years of my parents' money getting a degree that I didn't want? And luckily, I was scrolling through Facebook, working on the prom business, and I stumbled upon an article about an 18-year-old kid from New Jersey who, while he was in the 12th grade, not knowing how to program, he managed to put out 100 iPhone apps in 1 year and make $1 million. And I was blown away. And I said, holy shit, I don't need school. I don't need my prom business. I need this kid. I need him to teach me everything he knows so I can go put iPhone apps out and make my own $1 million. And so I messaged him on Facebook, and 2 days later, he gave me a list of books to read, courses to take, and I stopped going to class. And my first app came out January 2013, and I dropped out of school a week later. From January 2013 until September, I'm a Virgo. I'm born in September. I said in that 9-month window, I'm going to put 3 apps out per month, 27 apps total. Well, June 2013, I am sitting in the Jack Astors right below us, and my best friend, Brian Gold, he comes home from Western. He was studying media, and he's telling me about how Instagram just got bought by Facebook and how it's going to be a game changer to the media industry. And I'm telling him that my app company is called Entourage Apps because Entourage is my favorite TV show of all time. It's about a talent agent, if you're not familiar. And I said, I want to move to LA and I want to go represent movie stars and TV stars. And I want to be the guy standing next to all the biggest celebrities on planet Earth. And he said, we've been best friends our whole lives. You're going to move to LA and abandon me? Maybe there is a way for you to be a talent agent without moving to LA. Maybe there is a new definition of what a celebrity is. And we download Instagram, or I downloaded for my first time, and I scroll through and I see people with hundreds of thousands and millions of followers. And we said, maybe they're the future of what it means to be a celebrity. So it's June 2013, and we are looking through Instagram and we're thinking about who is a celebrity, who isn't, what does that really mean? And I happened to realize that a girl I went to high school with blew up on Instagram in the summer of 2013. She was one of the first fitness accounts, fitness inspiration or Fitspo accounts on the platform. Her name is Ronnie. Her handle is Inspired to Be Fit. She was overweight. She was unhappy in her skin. She wanted to change her whole life around. And what she decided to do was document her fitness goals. And every day she went to the gym, she shot a selfie. Every day she made a healthy meal, she shot a flat lay. And 6 months later, Ronnie racked up over 100,000 followers on Instagram. Brian and I were blown away. We're like, how the hell does this girl from the suburbs of Toronto amass this huge global following so quickly? And we look at her posts and we realize people are asking her, what sports bra are you wearing? What blender are you using? What protein are you drinking? She would then respond and endorse all of these products without getting paid. And she would drive a ton of awareness and consideration and sales for these brands without getting paid. And that was our aha moment where we said, creators deserve to earn a living doing what it is that they love doing, so long as they post about it on the internet. And marketers have an opportunity to speak to millions of people at pennies on the dollar compared to what it would cost on other digital or traditional media channels. Back then, in 2013, you could pay someone with 100,000 followers $100, $200 to post about you. There is no media channel on planet Earth that can get you that many eyeballs for so little. So what do we do? That summer, June 2013, 10 years ago, we get Ronnie paid. It validates our idea that companies would pay social media stars, they were not called influencers or creators yet, that companies would pay social media stars anything to post about them. And so what do? We sit at our parents' house in Richmond Hill for a weekend. We scroll through Instagram for 2 days. This is before Instagram had video. This is before there was DMing. We scrolled through and we looked for anyone we could find with an email address in their bio. We made a list of 700 people. We emailed them over the weekend, and by Monday, 500 of them had signed up on our newsletter, which was how to monetize your Instagram account. So what does that lead us to? We've got 500 people who gave us 10 brands each that they wanted to work with. Well, now we have 5,000 email threads trying to sell these people to the different brands. We've got drop boxes filled with content. We've got Excel sheets trying to track it all, and it became a total shit show to manage. And that's when we said, let's build a platform that will automate the process of finding the appropriate creator, collaborating with them and approving their content and making sure it's brand safe, and tracking the results of those posts. That was our hypothesis 9 years ago when we applied to the DMZ. I am a dropout, as I've said. Never even considered Ryerson, to be honest. I was like, I want to get out of Toronto, be away from my parents. But then we find out, thanks to Max at the back of this room, that the DMZ is a thing, and it's one of the biggest incubators, if not the biggest at the time in North America. And Brian, my best friend, becomes my co-founder, and he graduates when you graduate? April 2014. We are applying to the DMZ throughout May, and we moved in June 10th, 2014, just over 9 years ago. The last time I was in this room was 9.5 years ago, pitching the board of the DMZ to allow us to build our company here. It is very surreal to be standing here right now. That is the day we launched, just on the other side of that wall. This was our team of 6 people. It's pretty crazy to think about. And so we apply to the DMZ, and they believe in us, and they validate that we're onto something. And we moved in June 10th, 2013. We were here for a year, 3 months, and 20 days. We were on the 5th floor. Then they started believing in us and wanted to invest in us. We moved up to the 6th floor. We'd have our all hands meetings in all of these rooms. And now, 9.5 years later, we're over 100 people. Half of our team is in the US. We've raised over $50 million, and we're just on our way to changing the face of the creator economy and changing what it means to produce content and distribute it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Here's just another fun picture. So this was when we launched at the DMZ. And then 2 months later, we launched in San Francisco at TechCrunch Disrupt. If you're familiar with TechCrunch, they run a conference called Disrupt. If you've ever seen the show Silicon Valley, if you haven't, go watch it. It's the greatest show ever. It's a parody of startup life. And if you have watched it, we followed their journey to a T every week for the first 10 episodes of the show. They launched at TechCrunch. We launched at TechCrunch. We were a team of all guys and hired our first woman and had to figure out HR. Same thing happened with them. They had a crazy investor who wanted to shift the whole company around. So did we. It was incredible to watch that show and then follow the journey of launching at TechCrunch. So what do I hope you get out of today? What is the point of this talk now that you know my background? It is for you to understand how to turn influencers into a scalable media channel. Yes, it is social media 101 or whatever title they gave for this presentation I'm giving, but influencers and creators should be at the center of every company's marketing plans, large or small, and that's why I'm focusing on influencer marketing. So before I continue, before I tell you how to scale and give you some tips and tricks to help you in whatever marketing you're doing, I want to ask, who's familiar with influencer marketing? Raise your hand. Who's executed an influencer marketing campaign in their life, had to deal with hiring people and managing a program? Okay, any of these 5 hands? What do you hate most about influencer marketing? Forget about the screen. We don't want problems. What do you hate most? What was the biggest pain in the ass? Go.
I think just they don't take that seriously enough. Like it would be like, okay, that's influencer marketing, but it's not going to be the main source of marketing for brands.
Love it. How do you trust the people that you're working with? How do you know that it's going to work? How do you validate it against other marketing channels? You raised your hand.
Yeah, I guess like maintaining consultation because they're also managing other campaigns as well too.
Yeah.
Sometimes they may forget about, if they're actually helping you out.
Oh, 100%. At the end of the day, they're people. People are forgetful. People have lives. People's houses get hit by tornadoes and they can't shoot on their camera or whatever life throws at them. You never know. A couple over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say like having your audience take influencer marketing actually like seriously, because not a lot of people do.
You're right to the point I'm trying to make. There's one more somewhere.
I was just gonna say that most influencers know that you need them more than they need you, so it can be hard to get a response.
Oh, yeah.
Get like a solid.
They're on a pedestal. They're this new celebrity. They think that just because they have followers, their shit doesn't stink. Well, that's not the reality. Something my mom says. Anyways, so you've all said it. You've all touched on it. Everything you said is the biggest problem. And yes, there were multiple answers, and I said is on purpose because they all bubble up to one word. Whether you are concerned about the people you're working with, or the process, or how to measure it against other marketing channels, all sums up into one word. Is this working? Trust. Marketers don't trust influencer marketing to achieve their critical business objectives. Why? Well, I, since 2018, have spoken at 100 events a year all around North America. So that's 500 plus events, plus client calls. And every single time, marketers tell me the exact same thing. Influencer marketing doesn't scale like other media channels. How do I measure my effectiveness? What is my return on ad spend or my return on investment? Or we've tried it before and it just doesn't work for our brand or our industry. These are the problems that #Paid is setting out to solve, and we are in the process of doing it. But where did these problems come from? Why do marketers think it can't scale? Why can't they measure their ROI? Because most of them are still doing it the old way. What is the old way of influencer marketing? Scrolling through social media manually. Most companies have an intern or a team of account managers or coordinators, and those folks are tasked with scrolling through social media for hours upon hours, making Excel lists. Then what do? You email them, you hope they reply, which was said they don't often reply. And then even if they do, and they give you their address, you send them free products. And that's what we call the spray and pray. You're sending out 100 products, hoping that 1 or 2 or 3 of these influencers post about you. And then maybe 5 out of the 100 post. But you didn't give them guidelines. You didn't tell them what to post or what you care about. And now that content may not actually deliver the message that you want as a marketer. It may actually make your brand look worse than before and have a negative impact. And so marketers, if the content isn't controlled by them, or at least they aren't giving advice or creative direction to the creator, then the content won't be repurposable. They won't be able to take an influencer's post and put it in a paid banner ad or on a billboard or on television. And finally, measurement. None of this matters. Who the people are, the type of content, the social network, if you don't have a measurement framework in play. Most of our competitors, most agencies, most media companies, they measure influencer marketing in fluffy bullshit metrics, likes and comments. That does not tell a CMO that you are selling more product. That does not tell them that your target audience is more likely to purchase. It's some kind of top of funnel indicator, but it's not how you're going to build trust with your executives at your company. And it is not how you're going to unlock more dollars to do more amazing work by saying, oh, we got more likes than we did yesterday. Who gives a shit? So this leads up to the overarching problem. Marketers don't think of creators as strategic partners. They don't think of them as an extension of their team. They think of them as, oh, I'll hire this person to take a selfie and post. That's the problem. Because influencer marketing offers a ton of value that gets wasted when you only hire them to post about you. They can help you build trust. Think about companies. People don't trust companies the same way that they once did. People trust people. So when you leverage a person, an influencer, a creator to talk about your brand, you're extending that trust. You're enabling them to build the trust for you. It's how you stay relevant. Certain brands, Coca-Cola, been around for a long, long time. They've got so many different SKUs, so many different products. How do we keep Coca-Cola or a legacy brand like that top of mind? Having creators talk about it. You can reach new audiences. So many brands have been around for a long time. Their target customer used to be 20. Now they're 50 years old, 60 years old. They want to recruit more 20-year-olds. And how are they going to get in front of them? Well, through creators. It's a way to access a whole new audience that a brand might not be talking to, using diverse creators that have different types of audiences than the brand has previously marketed to. There's lots of ways of accessing new audience members, which could become customers through creators. So the mission, in order to scale influencer marketing and turn this into a channel that can be as powerful as others in the mix, we need to reframe the way we think about influencer marketing. It is not a one-off post. It is the act of partnering with a creator to solve a critical business objective. Forget about the likes and comments. We need to be solving business objectives so that you can unlock more budget and do your job and look awesome to your boss and get promotions. So how do we turn it into a scalable media channel? That was all background, setting the stage for now the tactics that I'm going to share with you to turn it into a scalable channel. There's two pillars to the solution. First is content. Second is performance. We're going to go through each one. Under content, we'll talk about things like creators versus influencers. We'll talk about the importance of looking at their audience, analyzing their prices, and knowing where and how you can repurpose their content. And then we'll talk about performance. What are the metrics, if not likes and comments, that you should be tracking? What tools can you use to measure your ROI? And then how can you validate that you're actually earning that return outside of what a social network tells you and using third-party validation? So first, the content pillar. We're going to flash back. We went to 2013 when my story started, but this slide goes back to as early as the 1400s when the printing press was invented. Historically, up until social media, really, content was created and distributed by the same companies. Bell, Disney, any of these companies, they would create the content and then they would promote it on television and movies, etc. Now, since the internet in the 80s and more recently since mobile and social, anybody on planet Earth can shoot content with their iPhone or whatever device you're using. And if it's connected to the internet, you can now distribute that content for free. It is the biggest shift the media industry's ever seen. It went from having to pay for placements of that distribution to now being able to post online for free, which enables anyone on planet Earth to to build a following and in turn earn a living posting on the internet. So we talk about this idea of influencers and creators. I've said influencers up until this point, just so you know what we're talking about, but moving forward, you will only hear me say creator. And that's because there is a difference. 5 years ago, we started noticing that the industry was blowing up. Today, the industry is over $20 billion in spend. When I was in this room 9.5 years ago, there wasn't even $50 million being spent on sponsorships on social media, and now it is over $20 billion. It is insane. But what that means is that everybody wants to be an influencer. I'm literally in meetings with CMOs, 50, 60-year-old people who have run companies for 20 years, and they're like, I wish I was a YouTuber. Or my kid talks about how they want to be a YouTuber. Or I wish I was getting paid to post on Instagram. And so the money attracted a lot of attention, but it's also attracting the wrong kind of people. There are people who just want to become an influencer to make a quick buck. They're in it for the money. They're not in it for the value that they can share with their audience. And we'll focus on the left side for now. They're all going to come up at once, but look at the left. So influencers, as I mentioned, they're in it for the money. So what does that mean? If they are working with Coca-Cola promoting, I don't know, Diet Coke, and then Pepsi reaches out to them tomorrow, they'll just delete the post and take the money from Coke and then go work with Pepsi and get paid again. And that's not authentic. The word authentic or authenticity is the #1 buzzword when you talk about creators and influencer marketing, but it matters. And if a creator is willing to work with Coke, delete it, and work with Pepsi, are they the right person to partner with? No. Ties into working with any brand that they delete the post. But worst of all, they're buying fake followers and fake engagements. I get ads every day on my Instagram. Spend $20 and get 50,000 followers. Spend $100 and get 1 million followers. There is an appeal to having followers because you can trick marketers into paying you. But will it last long term? Will you be able to earn a living doing what you love on the internet if you're scamming the system? No. So that's why we drew a line in the sand and we said, who is the top tier of the influencer community? Who are the professionals? And we call them creators because first and foremost, they shoot high quality content, whether or not it is sponsored by a brand. It's what they love to do. They love shooting content and posting it on the internet. And as a result of shooting amazing content, people follow them and like and comment and engage with their content. And so the outcome of shooting amazing content is the following. They didn't start with the following and then are like, what do I post? Because I bought all these followers. They were able to build that trusted audience because of the content they produced, which means that they care about their content and they care about their audience. So if a brand reaches out to a creator, my favorite thing about them is that creators will turn down more deals from brands than they accept because they only want to partner with brands that they care about and that they know will resonate with their audience. So what are creators? Ultimately, they are the connection point between a brand and the people they want to sell to. How do people connect? Through stories. Creators are storytellers who shoot amazing content like every video you're about to see. They are vertical experts. They know about certain topics or industries and can speak to it as an expert and educate audiences of a brand about the benefits of a certain product or service. They are videographers. When we started, photos were all the rage. Instagram was only photos. Now, 90% of the content we distribute, video. And yes, anyone can technically shoot a video on their phone, but are you editing it properly? Does it look like the trends that we're seeing on social? Does it match the form and function of the network that the content's going to be distributed in? It takes a creator to know that and then produce it and distribute it in an effective way that's going to move the needle for a business. And last but not least, they are producers. Is it next? No, we'll talk about it when we come back. This slide in particular, this video, we're going to come back to. So these were just examples, but we'll watch it in a moment. So why should marketers, why should any of you consider in any marketing role partnering with creators? Well, what is your alternative? And I don't know what sophistication level this group is when it comes to marketing, so we're going to start from day one. If you are a big brand, most big brands hire agencies. There's basically 3 types of agencies. Creative agencies that come up with the idea and produce the content. There are PR firms which get you in the news and now are trying to figure out influencer marketing. And then there's media agencies that take the content and put it on billboards, on television, on banner ads. They hold all the money for the biggest brands on earth and just divide up the money into different media channels. But they're slow. If anyone's seen Mad Men, the show on creative agencies in New York on Madison Avenue, nothing's changed in ad agencies in 100 years. You have to RFP them. You ask them for a proposal. They have 15 people sitting in a boardroom coming up with ideas. There's a lot of overhead and they move slow. Whereas a creator, they are 6 different people's roles at an agency in one. They come up with the idea, they shoot it, they edit it, they source the music. You don't have to pay for talent rights and all these things. And so creators move a lot faster than agencies, especially today when brands want to follow trends. Something's trending on the internet. You don't have 6 months to go shoot a video like you did years ago. You've got days or hours to produce content quick enough to be relevant and stay in that conversation. Cost. We're going to come to it, and it's going to be that infinity commercial that I was showing you, but it is a lot more cost effective to go directly to a creator to shoot the content instead of hiring an agency, because again, agencies have overhead, offices, staff, payroll, taxes, you name it, a lot more overhead than a creator does. And finally, creators have proven success. What does that mean? Creators have a following. The following validates that they know what the hell they're talking about. They know how to speak to your target audience as a brand, arguably better than you do. If they have a larger following than the brand does, clearly the creator knows how to communicate to that group of people. And that's what a brand, especially legacy brands that have been around for 50 plus years, need to learn. How to talk to people today in the way that they want to be spoken to, in the channels that they need to be spoken to drive business objectives forward, like sales. Okay, so you now should have an idea of creators versus influencers, of the value that creators can give you. So you go out and you want to work with a creator. How do you find them? Well, there's a variety of different ways that we'll talk about after, should you choose to activate. But what data matters when you are considering a creator? Well, their followers. It doesn't matter. When we started, we were only operating in Canada. That's where my co-founder and I are from. That's where our connections were. But Canadian marketers only care about marketing to Canadian eyeballs. And when you post on any social network, or a creator posts on any social network, the algorithm controls who sees it. And that audience might be outside of Canada, or that audience might be under the legal drinking age. And this is for an alcohol brand. And so understanding who a creator's audience is the data required to make the right selection. Because ultimately you are using the creator as a vehicle to get to their audience. So you need to know who their audience is. And there are plenty of tools out there, including #paid, that give you this information, like understanding where a creator's audience is located. What are they interested in? And then you have all this data, but it can be tough to sift through. It can be tough to find. You're asking creators to screenshot their demographics from their account, or maybe you're finding it manually. Well, there are tools now that allow you to automate this search. Find the creators, have all their data at your fingertips, and it speeds up the time it takes to find the right people. But my favorite tip, and I say this all too much to all types of brands, is it doesn't matter if you have the interns on your team scrolling and making lists, or you hired an agency, or you have a software platform. At the end of the day, someone is going to present a list to you, and you and your team are going to have to choose which people to work with. In the best case, you know who the creator is and where they're located and what they charge. You now know who their audience is because you sourced that demographic information, but you don't know if they actually use your product, or have heard of your brand, or love your product, or have some amazing creative idea that your team never thought of to get your message out there. So what we recommend is asking creators 3 simple questions before you contract them. Why do you love my brand? What do you love about my product or service? How do you envision bringing our messaging to life in your content? And then they can write you paragraphs in our platform. This has actually been integrated, where every single brand that we work with, hundreds of them, and every single creator, tens of thousands of them, before they can collaborate, the creator must pitch the brand on why they want to work with them. So here's an example. Oh, is that not going to play? Let's try it over here. Okay, well, whatever. We're not going to watch it. Basically, Diala, a creator, saying, I love Barilla pasta, if you know it, biggest pasta maker in the world. I love their pasta. I have 2 little girls. They love rigatoni. They love penne. And I came up with all these new recipes to make pasta that my young girls love using Barilla noodles. Pick me, and we're kind of come up with custom recipes, and my girls will be in the video. And they were so excited. How often do you get a creator with hundreds of thousands of followers telling you why they want to work with you and pitching you on an idea? That is the tip that I recommend. Just ask them. And if they're not willing to answer those questions, I guarantee there will be a huge pain in the ass to work with later. Get that out of the way too. Okay, trends that matter. Now you've found the creator. not an influencer. You've looked at who they are, you've looked at who their audience is, and you've asked them to pitch you. So what content should they actually be producing? Well, shouldn't surprise you. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. Video, video, video. That's the answer. Social networks are prioritizing video. Instagram started off as a feed of photos, and now they have explicitly said it to the media, to creators, to businesses. If you post reels, if you post video, it will be ranked higher in the algorithm. And every social network is doing that. Video is here to stay and only going to be more and more powerful and easier to produce and so on. But there's all sorts of video. Short form video, shouldn't surprise you, is the big trend. Videos used to be 2 to 10 minutes on YouTube. Television commercials used to be up to a minute long. Now, the most consumed content is under 20 seconds. And TikTok being the focus, they became the #1 video platform in the world. They've overtaken YouTube for watch time. So think about short form video, think about TikTok. Here's an example. I don't know if these are going to play. Oh, that's disappointing. This video is so cute. Is there a way I can play any of these? Because some of them are really good and it would be a shame to miss them. I just don't even see the presentation. That's the problem here.
Tech expert here, but like,
Unless it's hidden. Oh, there we go. No, that's the file. I don't know where it opened. Like, see how it's sharing here, but then I don't actually see my presentation anywhere.
Where are you sharing the presentation from? Is it Google Slides or PowerPoint?
Slides. Oh, is it just like somewhere in full screen mode? It's a shame if we don't have them. Talking about all this content, it's a shame if I can't show you the content. Like, I don't know where that presentation is. Okay, worst case, I will just send it out after and you can watch some content. But if you can figure it out while I'm here, that would be great. Oh, there he is. How do I just click play on a video? I can't see the presentation. It seems to be hidden in a window. Oh, okay, cool. Nope, but here, let's go back a sec. Okay, it's fine. Will it play? It doesn't, that's fine. The most important one will play. Okay, we've got an error. That's fine, but at least I know I can mouse over here and click it. That is cool. Thank you, Jose.
Off this side.
So these are just screen recordings, so it's easier. You can see it. You might have even been a part of this. Last year, Fruit by the Foot said, hey, we want to launch a TikTok challenge. People who used to eat fruit by the foots are now in their 30s. We want people in their teens, in their 20s, eating fruit by the foot. And creators came up with this concept. This was not my team. This was not the brand. Creators in that hand raise message, when they were pitching the brand, said, why don't we just race each other to eat the fruit by the foot without our hands? And all these creators challenged their friends, their family members, other creators to consume the fruit by the foot without their hands. And the music behind it was the Mario Kart beep, 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 countdown. And it was awesome. But the coolest part about it was, yes, the creators were paid. Yes, they posted. Yes, this content ended up going viral, so much so that you could look up Fruit by the Foot Challenge and you will see half of the Toronto Blue Jays doing this in the locker room, competing against each other to eat their fruit by the foot. And then once the Blue Jays posted, it went crazy. And we had athletes in all different disciplines and leagues competing against each other, coincidentally, to eat the fruit by the foot. So just some tips on TikTok. I'm sure you are all experts, but prioritize vertical video. Seems obvious. Don't put a horizontal video up there. Don't take something from YouTube and put it on TikTok. Design for the social network that you are investing in. Stand out in the first 3 seconds. If you think about a TV commercial, if you have seen them in the last years, they used to be 30 seconds to a minute long. That was a long time to tell a story over 30 seconds. Now, with the average video being under 20 seconds, usually around 10 seconds, if a brand has a message to get across, you got to do it fast. You got to have your brand logo or the product in the first 3 seconds of the video, ideally in the last 3 seconds of the video as well. There's trending music, use it. There are trending hashtags, use them, and keep your content or your comments or your captions short and sweet. And that's what makes it more relatable. Now, my favorite part. So, creator content, it's great. I showed you short form examples, or I tried to. The fruit by the foot one was a good example of that sub 20-second video that you'd see on a YouTube Shorts or on TikTok or on a. This is the opposite end of the spectrum. Infinity has been a customer of ours for 3 or 4 years. Last year, they came to us and said, in order for us to shoot a commercial that we'd all see on TV, a standard car commercial, what do? They have to block off streets. They have to get cranes and drones and helicopters, and they have to go through city approvals, and it could take months or a year to plan. And then they spend $500,000 to $1 million on just the video, on just the production. And then they have to spend millions to actually put that video into different channels. They came to us and said, we've got a challenge for you. Can you find a creator who can shoot just as high quality of a video for less money? We said, fuck yeah, we can. And we went through our network and we put out a brief and we said, who drives an Infinity? Hundreds of creators raised their hand. Who shoots video? Dozens of creators raised their hand. Who's got a story that they want to tell and a creative idea? 10, 15 creators. And it went lower and lower and lower. Then they had stories. They had examples. They had ideas, and they chose this creator. You might follow him. If you don't, you should. His name's Alan Palander. He is an architectural photographer. I met him in the DMZ 8.5 years ago when he had 6,000 followers. Now he's upwards of 1 million. And since producing this video, he has become the official F1 photographer and travels all around the world shooting F1 races. Look at this video, and then we're going to play a game. And I told you it was less than $50,000. I want you to guess, or sorry, less than $500,000 to produce. I want you to guess how much Infinity paid for this video. Do I have a mouse? Hang on. Oh. Will it just play if I click next? Does it look like a TV ad? Looks like a Super Bowl ad to me. It's so awesome. Throw out numbers. How much did it cost? What did they pay? That would be really good. Nobody knows numbers under 500,000? Scream. Do something. Give me some guesses. Yeah, close. Good. Anyways, punchline, $25,000. That's 1/20th of the cost. And it was only meant to live on YouTube. They posted it on YouTube. Oh, did you have a? His name's Alan Palander, AlenPalander, I believe. Or if you just type in Alan, you'll find him. So the amazing thing, yes, it was 1/20th of the cost. And yes, it looks awesome. And yes, he does drive an Infinity, and that was his condo that he put the picture of. It doesn't get more authentic than this, and it was super cost effective. But cost is one metric. But what about performance? When they actually distributed the video, how did it work? Well, it lived on YouTube to start. And then they compared it to a television commercial that they were running at the same time. And they had hundreds of survey panelists respond. And what did they say? That they found Alan's video more appealing, higher quality, equal in terms of professionalism, and more tasteful than the video that they spent $500,000 to $1 million to put on television. So not only is it less expensive, performs better. Audience members, consumers, like all of us, prefer creator content, and it's less expensive. And this is the point I try and drive home every single day to marketers. Cost effective, and people prefer to see that content, so buy more of it. But how did Alan come up with $25,000? How do creators price themselves? If any of you are creators, how should you be pricing yourselves? There's 9 factors, and I'm not going to go too deep, but let's just throw them all up. First, brand love. Does the creator actually know your brand, love it, use it? That is going to cost you more as a marketer because they have the affinity. Second, what is the product? Is it a $50 eyeliner, or is it a, I don't know, $25,000 Rolex? If you are gifting a creator a Rolex, they're going to reduce their rate or post just in exchange for that. It's a $50 product, they're not going to adjust their rate. They just expect you to gift them the product so that it can be included in the content. Creative effort and skill. Are they shooting a selfie? Are they shooting a 10-second video? Or are they shooting a 2-minute long television commercial? That is going to be a huge factor in terms of pricing. Entourage. A lot of creators, like Alan you saw, he was both in front of the camera and behind the camera. Other creators are only in front. Other creators are only behind. So they have an entourage of people that support them in filming or editing or sound or whatever is required to get the piece of content out there. That can impact pricing. Likeness is an interesting one. Likeness is the creator's face in the content, or is it just like their hand holding, or their wrist with the Rolex on it? If a creator's face is on it, that means that for as long as that piece of content is out on the ether, on the internet, or being turned into ads, that creator is tied to that brand, right? Their face is saying, hey, I love pizza, and now every time you think of pizza, you think of that creator. Every time you see that creator, you think of pizza. So the likeness, you're going to charge more for, because creators might not be able to go work with Domino's or Dr. Oetker at-home pizzas or whatever it might be, because they are associated with a competitive brand. So you have to pay more for that. Partnership length. Is it a one-off post? Is it a series of posts? Is it an annual deal? The longer you hire a creator for, the better rate they'll give you. Economies of scale and bulk discounts apply to creators just like any other purchase. The amount of channels. Are they just posting one little story on Instagram? Are they posting videos across many platforms, photos across many platforms? The more sophistication, the more channels, the more expensive it's going to be. And scarcity, the niche or the type of creator. Some creators, easy to find. How many of you have seen, I don't know, beauty influencers and fashionistas, and how many of you wish you were one? And like it's an infinite amount of people posting about food and beauty and fashion. But go and find me a dad with 2 kids living in Southern California who has over $100,000 in debt and wants to talk about JP Morgan Chase's mortgages. You know anyone? Because I literally need to go find that for them for next week, and I'm struggling. So that particular creator will make more money because there's less of them out there. Male creators make more than female because there's way more female creators out there, on a simpler example than the dads on the West Coast with debt. And then here's just like, if you want to take a picture, this is from the beginning of 2022, but not much has changed because of the pandemic and some changes. But this is approximate pricing based on follower counts for Instagram organic posts. Videos obviously cost more than photos. The more work that goes into it, the longer the content, the higher the quality, the more expensive it will be. And that is the content pillar. How are we on time? Anyone? Time check? Oh, we have 10 minutes. Well, we're not going to finish. Performance. I'll go quicker. So the second pillar, all the content, all the creators, they don't matter. As I said, if you cannot measure the effectiveness. So performance is the most important thing. How do you measure performance? Well, the problem with creators, I've shared a lot of them, but the problem when it comes to measuring your ROI is that they offer so much value that people, marketers, CMOs think it's too good to be true. What do? They create content, which I've just shown you is a lot more cost effective. They post organically to their followers, and they have a much more trusted audience than a brand does because people trust people, not companies. And they offer something called creator licensing, or what is known also as whitelisting, or a Spark ad on TikTok. And what this is when you buy a paid ad. So have any of you, show of hands, used Facebook Ad Manager ever? Logged into it, seen it, know what it is? Okay, half the room. Facebook Ad Manager. You go into your Facebook account, you click Ad Manager, and it lets you buy an ad. And so it says, who do you want to target? And you'd write like Canadians, 18 to 25, interested in technology, and so on. And they say, okay, for $20 per 1,000 impressions or click or whatever it might be, we will target those people. And that's every ad you see on your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. That's how it all works. They choose an audience, they upload a photo or a video, and they pay every time that photo or video is in front of your eyeballs. What whitelisting or licensing is the exact same thing. A brand buys an ad, but the only difference is that the ad does not come from Infinity or from Coca-Cola. It comes from Adam or Max or the creator. And so imagine you're all scrolling down your feed. Sometimes you see Coca-Cola sponsored and you're like, oh, I hate ads. Other times you're like, oh, I see Adam Riviett's in partnership with Coca-Cola. And it's a person that you don't follow who randomly popped up in your feed. Is everyone tracking? Have you seen this before? That is a whitelisted ad where it's coming from a person, not a company, but you don't follow them and it was targeted specifically for you with a specific message. So it is a hybrid of complete organic posting, having the algorithm choose who sees it. Now you get complete control as a marketer, but it's coming from a person and they are featured in the content. So why does all that matter? Well, performance. There's metrics. I said likes and comments are bullshit. So what should you be looking at? If you are a brand marketer, taking a step back, most organizations today are still divided into brand marketers and performance marketers. If you know the marketing funnel, awareness, consideration, purchase intent, sales. Most organizations, it's like half the group focus on the top two, awareness and consideration. Other half the group focus on purchase intent and sales. While I strongly disagree with that structure, this is what brand marketers should be thinking of. If you are working on the top of the funnel, awareness or consideration, you need to be thinking about propensity to purchase metrics. That means that someone, your audience member seeing the ad, didn't buy, but they're heading in the right direction to buying. They're leaning in. They are showing that they remember your brand more after seeing the content. They are visiting your site, which is an indicator that they are interested. They are adding to cart. These are things that show purchase intent. And ways to report on things like brand lift and brand recall and a shift in perception. So again, a legacy brand, Cheerios, for example, mostly eaten by people like 50 plus now. And they're trying to bring in younger audiences. And they want to make younger audiences think differently about Cheerios. They need to shift their perception. And using things like brand lift studies, you're able to measure those qualitative aspects of a campaign. My favorite one, the simulated social feed. This is where panelists, people who have seen the ads, can connect their social media accounts, and it will simulate their exact Instagram feed. They'll see pictures of their friends and family, and then we can splice in pictures from Coca-Cola or Infinity and see, did they stop? Did they like? Did they comment? How long did they watch it for? And then we can follow up with a survey, which is how Facebook and Instagram and all the leading social networks validate that their ads are working. They offer a brand lift study. Their studies ask 2 or 3 questions. Can't pull a lot of insights out of 2 or 3 questions. We can ask up to 30 questions. So again, any which way you can uncover more information than what's available to you on a social network, especially when it comes to qualitative things like brand lift or brand recall. Brand lift studies are the way to do it. And these are what the results look like. This is just a sample I pulled up where we can see how did people react to the content from which creator, then did it actually deliver the message? If any of you shop at Canadian Tire, any of you own homes or like for university bought cookware. Paderno is a brand from Canadian Tire. They had 4 messages they wanted to get across. That Paderno offers quality cookware, that they know quality matters, that it's for the passionate cook, and that it's high quality cookware brand. How do you know that that got across in your messaging? Well, you use a study to validate, and audiences say, yeah, we know that that creator said that. We remember them saying that, and it validates that the content was effective. And then finally, a study can give you more learnings to say, hey, you're going to run another influencer campaign next month, or you're running an always on program throughout the year. Take those learnings, understand what creator type or content format or message worked, and double down. Go find more creators, shoot content like that, and deliver the same message. Now going lower to the funnel, we have performance marketers, the people who care about purchase intent and really sales. Performance marketers care about conversions. That's ultimately what matters. A conversion could mean different things. Usually it means sales. But if you're a digital product, it might mean a new app download. It might be website visits, or more so people signing up to be a member of your website. Those are conversion metrics, the lowest possible action someone can take to become a customer. And so here's an example. Urban Skin RX, a skincare brand for Black women. And what they said was, our goal is to beat a $20 CPA. CPA, cost per acquisition. So every customer that they get who buys a beauty product, they want to spend $20 or less to get that customer through an ad. And they said, okay, well, we're using influencer marketing, but it's not driving the sales. It's, we're getting content, we're getting likes and comments. And we can't find enough creators that actually represent the audience we are trying to speak to. So they came to us, we went through our creator network, we found them women who had the exact stories about having textured hair and trying to figure out solutions to keep it in check. And those creators told real stories about their actual hair or skin challenges. Authenticity always wins. The creators posted and they beat that $20 cost per acquisition. In fact, they hit a return on ad spend of 3.5 to 1. What the hell does that mean? It means for every dollar that they spent, they got $3.50 back in return. You don't spend money on a digital channel unless you are at minimum breaking even, and then you're trying to get it to a 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1 ROAS. And that is the performance piece. So what do you measure? Top of the funnel, brand marketers, think about propensity to purchase metrics. Performance marketers, think about conversion metrics, and use creator licensing. This is the best way to measure conversions. Again, this is where you buy a paid social ad on any of the leading networks, but it's coming from the creator, Catherine, instead of Canon, the brand. Or Alan Pounder, who was working on the Infinity. He did something for Macallan Scotch. Where is it? That is the post on his feed that he posted to his followers. They then turned it into a paid ad using the same content, but this went to whoever the algorithm chose. And this went to all of the Canadians that the brand chose they wanted to hit. People over 21 who drink alcohol, who live in Canada, and so on. And then the cherry on top, anyone who saw Alan's post on his feed or saw or clicked the ad was then retargeted with an ad from the brand and the product. So imagine you've never heard of Macallan, but you love Alan and he's cool. So he talks about it. You're like, oh shit, maybe I'll drink Macallan. Then for the next 2 weeks, every time you scroll down your feed, you're seeing Alan and his Macallan, and you're still like, man. But finally, when you most likely would have just scrolled past an ad from the brand, you've been primed. You know Alan drinks it. You've been hit by it so many times that you are then more likely to click the ad from the brand and actually buy because you've been exposed to Alan's content ahead of time. And this is not just an assumption, it has been proven. If you are primed by a creator, you will be more open to the ads that the brand actually posts themselves. And this is what that licensing or whitelisting looks like on Meta. Again, it's just creator handle in partnership with. On Pinterest, different pins are sponsored by brands. On Snap, it'll say the sponsor. And then on TikTok, it's pretty similar. Is anyone using whitelisting, or have any of you heard of it before? Other than Dylan? We have one. Okay, sweet. This used to be nobody in a room. Like, I'm talking CMOs of huge companies. They didn't know what it was 3 years ago. Now 90% of hands go up when I ask it, which is fantastic. And why should you use it? For all the reasons I mentioned. People trust people. So they stop their thumbs when they're scrolling and actually look at the content. They engage with it for a longer period of time. And it's because it's more relatable and realistic. So when you turn it into a paid ad versus a branded ad, a creator whitelisted ad, it performs better, longer view times, higher click rates. And the results end up being on average 2 times better. So let's say you're buying ads. Your goal is clicks to your website. You were spending $3 per click to your website. Use creator content, use a whitelisted ad. You'll do it for $1.50. And finally, the Alan Palander video, the Infinity video that I showed you. This was the most proud moment I've had in 9 years of running this company. And this is the future, and this is the idea I'll leave you with, I think. There might be more, but I'll end here. We just saw brands can now create content for pennies on the dollar compared to what they used to be. They can test it on social media and get real-time feedback from likes and comments. But most marketers, as I said, end the relationship there. They have a creator post. That's it. Great. Got us likes, got us some clicks. What we believe is the future of all media, and what some of our partners, including Infinity, have finally started doing, is taking the content from social and then putting it in a magazine or on television or on a billboard or on a programmatic banner ad or building websites and landing pages, all using creator content. So here are some examples. Dollar General is a big dollar store in the States, but Infinity, I showed you Alan's video, but that's like appealing to the bro who wants a cool car. But what about the mom who cares about safety features? What about the other personas that they're trying to market to? Alan was not the only one who shot a video. They had all sorts of people shoot videos, and they built landing pages talking to those specific people about why they should give a shit about the new Infinity. Another amazing example, Sephora. They've been a partner of ours for 6 years. They've had tons of assets go viral, and only this year for Lunar New Year did they say, oh, these photos are incredible. Oh, we don't have diverse content. It's all white women in the front of our stores. And so they took the best performing creator content from the Lunar New Year campaign and put it right in the window of their stores. And that is the creator going, holy shit. And she's in the window. So it's amazing. And then finally, out of home, if any of you are vegan, vegetarian, you might know these chickenless chicken nuggets that came out a year or two ago. This photo was photoshopped by the dad, put his kids on. It went viral on Instagram, and they put it on billboards all across the country. This is the future of content and media. Get the content more cost effectively, test it, and then distribute it in these traditional channels. That's the performance side. So when you combine both of the pillars, content and performance, you can achieve measurable results, whether that's more brand favorability, more purchase intent, more web traffic, or better conversion rates. And you can turn this into a scalable channel. The last piece, how do you activate? If you wanted to today for your brand or the company you work for, go find creators. You got a few options. Do it manually with an intern or a coordinator, which takes a lot of time and is impossible to scale. Go to a PR or talent agency that represents the same 50 or 100 creators. So they're going to represent, or they're going to recommend the same people to you that they do to all their other clients because they have a vested interest in that talent. Also very expensive. And finally, there are software platforms out there that do help automate it. We are one of probably 200 tools out there now, but most of them scrape the internet and they surface creators like Google would, where it's okay, we scraped, we put down 1 million profiles of influencers in our database, but then you as the marketer go to reach out and they give you an email and they ghost you, they don't respond, they don't tell you their rates, they don't give you the answers you're looking for, and it becomes this long drawn out process. And so that's why a hashtag page, just summing up what we do, we are the toolkit for the biggest brands on earth to activate the creators, because we built our own creator network. Over the last 9 years, over 500,000 creators have gone to hashtagpaid.com and signed up. We've only let on 75,000 of them. And that's because they have to meet our criteria of what a creator is. We offer workflow management, even though we have software and everybody with a startup wants to have a SaaS model. Most of our customers, they don't want to use the software. Coca-Cola's like, I'll pay you double the amount, triple the amount, 10 times the amount to just do the work for us, even though you built this amazing platform. And so what we've been offering from day one in the DMZ till now is a handheld service to educate the brand marketers about what the strategy should be, what network should they be on, who should they work with. We help them select the people and we help them measure all of the performance. And this is what it looks like in some kind of Venn diagram. We've got our creator network on one side. They can raise their hand to work with the brands. They can communicate with the brands. The brand can approve all the content. They can whitelist the content, and then they can do all of the reporting that I showed you earlier. That's it. Thank you all for listening. I know we were supposed to end 7 minutes ago, but if anyone wants to ask questions, I can hang out. I don't know if we have to be out of this room, but what questions do you have?
Like 1 or 2 questions.
And then we can step in the hallway and you guys can ask me whatever you want.
I just have a question about branding content, especially in terms of whitelisting.
Yep.
So if, let's say you are using that through a platform, is that usually, or based on your experience, do you think that's more like a better strategy to go through the brand itself? Like you kind of tagging them in together with the content creators, so being like, so and the brand have posted this content, or do you think
You're talking about that like collaboration feature. It's newer. I think half of our customers want to try it out. I think it's similar to the whitelisting piece, but it's not actually a paid ad. I don't really have an answer of yes or no. I think it's worth trying. I don't have the data off the top of my head to tell you if it's actually performing, but if you want to email me, I can get it from my team. We've been doing it the last 6 months or so. At the end of the day, I'll give you an answer. Disclosure is important. There is a law that came out a week after we moved into the DMZ called mandatory disclosure. It means if you gift or pay or gift free products even to a creator and they post about you on the internet, they must disclose that the post was paid for or that they were compensated. And that's why you see hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, hashtag paid. That's literally the reason why the company is called hashtag paid, because the law came out in the US. It wasn't in Canada, and we said, uh-oh, it's going to come. We better get ahead of it. And so our name is a double entendre. It's hashtag paid because we want to get creators hashtag paid, but it's also a law. And it was one of the only 3 ways, hashtag ad, sponsored, or paid, that you could legally disclose a post was paid for. So I think the collaboration feature is just another layer to show I'm not just sponsored, we're actually collaborating. It's marketing to marketers is what I believe that is, but I think audience members will appreciate it. What else do we got?
You said you've been working with Sephora for like 6 years ago, they started working with you.
Something like that, yeah.
How did you get in contact with them? How did they notice you? Why would they use you?
Okay, so my first role at the company, I was our first salesperson from like 2013 until 2015. And then, I'm one of the 2 co-founders, but my role day to day was selling. And then once we hired salespeople, I became our sales manager and moved to New York and failed miserably, actually. I should say that. Everything I've shared is very positive and sounds like everything's great and up and to the right, but no, we almost went bankrupt 3 times. We literally in the DMZ, we were at negative dollars in our account and we were about to say, okay, I guess we got to move out. And we found out we got a government grant from OCE for $35,000 that literally bought us the runway to then raise our first round. I moved to New York in 2018 to manage the sales team. I'm literally living my dream of being in New York, running my own company, managing a sales team. I've never been more depressed in my life. I've realized that I don't like managing people. I'm terrible at it. And thus, I don't want to do my team a disservice. And so actually, when we raised our Series A, told my co-founder, I'm like, I have to fire myself or I'm going to quit this whole company. I can't be the sales leader anymore. And he was like, why? I'm like, well, I don't want to talk to the same 6 salespeople every day and just hear them complain why we're not selling more. I want to go talk to marketers and hear their problems so we can come up with the products to solve them. And now, since 2018, I speak at all these events. I love talking to marketers. If I can hear more problems, I can come up with more solutions. And so it was a sad moment for 6 months of my life that then led me to the role I'm in now, and I'm happier than ever. But that didn't answer your question, I don't think. Sorry, I've been talking. What was your question again?
How
How do you get in front of someone? Okay, that was the background. Ultimately, short answer, LinkedIn all the way. I don't literally spend 10 hours a day on LinkedIn. It is the only network, only channel I use. I barely send email anymore. I am on LinkedIn 24 hours a day. That being said, the DMZ, great place. Our actual first deal that we ever signed with an ad agency, when I knew nothing about advertising or any of the agencies or any of the shit I just said to you, they hosted an event right there. And at that back table, sipping a glass of wine, was a guy named Will Oatley, who was the director of Dentsu Aegis, which is one of the 5 big holdcos. For any of you who don't know, 5 ad agencies own 80% of the ad agencies on Earth: WPP, Omnicom, Dentsu, Publicis, and IPG. And so he worked at one of the big ones and taught me a lot of what I know now and helped me get in front of his clients like Shoppers Drug Mart and Xbox. And once you win one deal with a Shoppers working on beauty, you call Sephora and you say, hey, look what I did with Shoppers. And then you call Ulta and you say, look what we did with Sephora. And then you call whoever and you piggyback your early success as best as you can to open up doors and like schmooze people with wine and drinks and lunches. What's up? Yeah.
You were talking about LinkedIn and how you approach the clients there. So I wanted, could you share with us some of the great tips you have, how we can target our clients on LinkedIn? Is it, we do use video search too, or no, it's just like a connection one-on-one?
This is a whole nother hour-long presentation I could give. But the short answer is, there is no short answer, really. Depending on the stage, if you are working at a big company, they have messaging, they have value props and certain things that like they want you to say to attract business. If you are a completely new business, if you run a startup, if you work at a startup with sub 20 people, you're probably not that sophisticated in terms of what is the company's mission, vision, and values. We start every team meeting every 2 weeks with our mission, vision, and values, because someone might have started 2 days ago, they might have started 8 years ago, but they need to be reminded of why the hell we all wake up and work on this every day. So first, mission, vision, values. If you don't have that, how do you then relay what you're trying to achieve to anyone? So once you have mission, vision, values, then it's what makes you unique in market? What is your unique selling proposition? What sets you apart, right? 3 to 5 bullets of what sets you apart. Then it's, who's going to give a shit about those 3 to 5 points? Who is the ultimate customer that cares about the problem you solve? And that's called personas or ideal customer profiles, where you say, I'm targeting, I don't know, Mary the marketer who works at an agency, who's 30 to 45 years old, who probably has kids, who does research, and on the weekend she spends time with her family and doesn't want to see her email, but Monday to Friday she's on point, and you do all this psychographic information about who is the perfect person. Only then can you go on LinkedIn and say, find me every single Mary the marketer that this, and this, and these locations, works at these companies with this title. And then you just 3 to 5 bullet points, you finesse and test different ways of delivering those 5 messages or 3 messages to those personas that you're marketing to.
And that being said.
Yes.
I'm his friend, so let's get him on.
Yeah, it's all good. But if you have more questions, I'll be right outside.
We're
I got
starting
some
something
time.
called Good Co.
Yeah.
Right now, so everyone can stand up, stretch. And we're gonna ask Adam to come into the main area too. You're welcome to ask him as many questions as you'd like as well.
Oh, and my email is adam@hashtagpaid.com. So if you have questions, don't email me, message me on LinkedIn. No, I'm not.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, sorry.